I spent $18,000 on my niece. She called me selfish for not giving her more, and my family made me the villain. I don't usually make posts like this, but I really need to know if I'm crazy or if my family has lost their minds. After years of spending my money and time on them, my niece called me selfish because I only gave her $18,000. And the worst part is that my family supported her. I'm in shock and don't know what to do. Was I too harsh? Or did I just get tired of being everyone's fool? I was always the one who organized all the family gatherings. Christmas, birthdays, weddings, baby showers, graduations. Everything went through me. It made sense. I'm a professional event planner and own a small venue that, while not luxurious, is cozy and functional. First, I did it gladly. I love seeing my family together, smiling, enjoying a well-organized meal in a carefully decorated setting. But over time, something changed. They started taking it for granted. My niece, Emily, 25, was one of the first to take advantage of my goodwill. Over the years, I organized 3 major events for her. A dinner after her secret wedding, where she left all the planning to me without giving any instructions. Her first baby shower, for which she simply told me, "Do whatever you want." And her second baby shower with the same careless attitude. She never showed enthusiasm, not even curiosity about the details. She would just show up, eat, collect her gifts, and leave. Not a single word of thanks. At her first baby shower, she arrived 30 minutes late, dressed in old sweatpants, as if she had just come from grocery shopping and not from an event organized just for her. She stayed just long enough to eat, pose for a few pictures, and pick up her gifts before leaving. Her mother, my sister-in-law, rushed to excuse her. She's had a tough pregnancy. That's why she doesn't have the energy for these things. The same story repeated at the dinner after her wedding. She arrived late, sat with her phone in her hand the entire time, ate, and then disappeared. My mother, who had always been the first to defend courtesy and good manners, murmured quietly. She didn't even say thank you. But my brother, Emily's father, quickly intervened. She's going through a lot of stress with the marriage. Don't take it the wrong way. There was always an excuse for her, and the third time was the worst. At her second baby shower, Emily repeated the same routine. She arrived late, and once she had collected her gifts, she casually asked me, "Can you pack all this up for me to take home?" I suggested she stay a little longer and open the gifts there to share the moment with the family. Her response was a sarcastic laugh. "I don't want to stay at these little parties any longer than necessary." That was the last straw. I decided at that moment that I would never organize anything for her again. A year later, I organized the bachelorette party for her younger sister. A girl completely different from Emily. Kind, grateful, excited about every detail. Everything turned out perfect. The atmosphere was warm, the decorations were elegant, and the food was delicious. Everyone, they were all happy, except Emily. She did the same thing as always. Arrived late, ate, didn't even help her sister, and then disappeared. While my brother and I were loading the gifts into the car, he dropped the bombshell. "By the way, Emily is pregnant again. When can you throw her baby shower?" I took a deep breath. "I'm not doing it." My brother frowned. "What? Why not?" I explained how his daughter had never appreciated anything I did for her, how she had never shown gratitude, and how she herself had said she didn't like these little parties. His reaction was the same as always. "I didn't know it bothered you that much. Are you really going to hold a grudge over one unimportant comment?" The next day, Emily called me furious. "Why did you tell my dad you won't throw me a party?" I took a deep breath. "You said you didn't like my parties. Why do you want another one?" There was an awkward silence. Then she finally admitted it. "Because I need the gifts." At that moment, I understood everything. It wasn't about the celebration, the family, or the special moment. For her, a baby shower was nothing more than an opportunity to collect free stuff. I calmly replied, "You can post your gift registry online. I'm sure people will help you." Emily exploded. "You're so selfish. You've always loved acting like you're important with your events. But when someone really needs you, you refuse to help." She hung up. A few minutes later, my brother called me, his tone full of indignation. "Emily is crying. She says you humiliated her and that you won't help her out of spite." I stayed silent for a few seconds. "If you want her to have a baby shower, you can pay for it. I'll charge you like any other client." There was a long pause. "How much does it cost?" I gave him the standard price for an event like that at my venue. "What?" His voice cracked. "That's too much." "Well then, you can find someone else to organize it." He hung up without saying goodbye. After my brother's call, I waited for the inevitable. I knew Emily wouldn't just let it go. She wouldn't accept a no without a fight. That wasn't her style. And sure enough, within 24 hours, my phone started ringing nonstop. First, it was my mother. "Sweetheart, I don't know what happened between you and Emily, but why did you refuse to throw her a baby shower?" "Mom, she herself said she didn't want to stay any longer than necessary at her own parties. Why would she want another one? She's your niece. Family helps each other." I closed my eyes and ran a hand over my forehead. There it was, the magic word, family. The perfect excuse for everyone to expect me to give my time and money without complaining. After my mother came the aunts. "We heard you refused to throw a baby shower for your pregnant niece." Poor thing. She's very sensitive. She's having a hard time. And now this on top of everything. Then came the cousins. "Hey, why are you being so bitter? It's not a big deal. It's just a party. If it were someone else, you'd do it. Why do you hate her so much? It seems like it bothers you to see her happy." They were attacking me as if I were the villain in this story. I knew Emily was behind all of this. She hadn't thought twice before twisting the story, painting herself as the poor victim abandoned by her cruel aunt. The worst part, most people believed her. By the third day, my patience reached its limit when one of my aunts called me, crying, "Sweetheart, how could you do this to Emily? She told me you humiliated her, that you said her child doesn't deserve a party." "What? I never said that. She said you insulted her, that you called her an opportunist and said her family didn't deserve anything from you." A chill ran down my spine. Emily wasn't just manipulating the situation, she was making things up. I took a deep breath and answered as calmly as I could. "I don't know what Emily told you, but I never said that. The only thing I did was refuse to organize another baby shower for her because she's made it clear she doesn't appreciate them. I don't know. She's really hurt. Can't you reconsider?" Number. But why? She's family. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. But Emily didn't stop there. By the weekend, I found out she had gone to my parents' house to cry to them in person. She showed up with a barely visible baby bump and teary eyes, saying she felt rejected, alone, that no one supported her, that everyone saw her as a burden. My mother, of course, hugged her immediately. "My dear, who made you feel this way?" "Aunt," she said in a broken voice. "She thinks I'm just using people. She says I only want the gifts and that I don't deserve the party." "That can't be true. Surely this is just a misunderstanding." "No, Grandma, it's not." She said it to my face. My mother was in shock. She believed every word. That same day, my brother called me again. "Now you've really gone too far. What did I do now?" "Emily is devastated. She says you called her an opportunist and insulted her just for asking for help." "That's a lie. Mom and Dad are really disappointed in you. They think you've become cold, selfish." That's when I understood everything. Emily had achieved her goal, turning the entire family against me. But that wasn't enough for her. It wasn't enough to make me the villain of the story. She wanted more. The following Monday, my younger cousin sent me a message. "Hey, is it true that you said you're tired of paying for everything and that our family is just a bunch of freeloaders?" I stared at the message, stunned. Emily had gone further than I thought. She had made up a story that I called them parasites. A cold rage rose in my chest. That's it. If Emily wanted to play dirty, then I was going to expose the truth, and I would do it in front of everyone. By the time my entire family had turned their backs on me, I had nothing left to lose. Emily had played her cards well, manipulating the situation until I was made out to be the villain. I could almost picture her satisfied smile as she received messages of support from the same relatives who were now ignoring me. But she made a mistake. In her eagerness to paint me as a horrible person, she forgot to keep her lies consistent. The first crack in her story appeared when one of my aunts wrote to me privately. "Hey, I just want to understand. Emily says you insulted her, but she also told me that you said you'd do the baby shower if she paid you. So which one is the truth?" That little message changed everything. If I had really humiliated and rejected her the way she claimed, then why would I have agreed to organize the event if she paid? It was too big of a contradiction, I answered honestly. Exactly. I told her that if she wanted a baby shower, She could pay for it like any other client. I didn't insult her or say any of the things she's been telling people. She's manipulating everyone. Hmm, well, that makes sense. But Mom and the others are still mad at you. They say you should reconsider. My family was so used to me doing everything for free that asking for fair payment for my work seemed offensive to them. But that was no longer my problem, because that was just the first crack in Emily's image of innocence. And soon more cracks started to appear. A few days later, my cousin Anna messaged me. I don't know if I should tell you this, but I found something that might interest you. Tell me. The other day, Emily stayed over at my house and left her laptop open. I saw that she was checking a conversation with her mother-in-law, and it looks like she's been getting financial help from her husband's parents. What do you mean? Yeah. Her mother-in-law had sent her money to buy baby things, but she spent it on something else. She was trying to justify it to her husband, saying she didn't have enough. But I saw that at the same time, she had a receipt for a designer clothing purchase. I felt chills run down my spine. Emily had been lying this whole time, saying no one supported her, that she had no resources, when in reality, she was receiving money from her in-laws and spending it on luxuries. Anna ended her message with something that left me even more stunned. Her husband doesn't even know that his mom already gave her money. Emily told him that her family has never helped her, and that you hate her for no reason. Emily wasn't just slandering me to our family. She was also manipulating her own husband. The final blow came when another cousin, Elena, called me in a panic. You have to see this. Elena sent me a screenshot of a group chat where several family members were talking about me. Emily had been saying that I was selfish, that I didn't care about family, that I never helped anyone. But then I saw something else. One of my aunts commented, well, at least she's never asked me for money. And another aunt replied, what do you mean she hasn't? She asked me 3 months ago. She said she didn't have enough for diapers, so I sent her $200. Wait, you too? I gave her $300 last month because she told me she was in debt with the bank. I sent her $500 recently because she said her husband was out of work. Emily had been asking multiple people for money at the same time, coming up with different excuses for each one, making sure no one compared notes. And that's when everything clicked. Emily wasn't just a manipulator. She was a con artist. That night, I barely slept. I had no doubts left. Emily had deceived the entire family. She made them believe she was a poor woman abandoned by her cruel aunt, when in reality she was taking advantage of everyone while living comfortably on other people's money. And the worst part was that most of the family was still on her side, but not for much longer. Because if Emily wanted to play with fire, then I was going to burn down the whole damn forest. The time to expose her had come, and I was going to do it in the most public way possible. I knew I couldn't just go around telling the truth about Emily to each person individually. She had already woven her web of lies too well, and if I tried to clear things up privately, all it would do was create more drama and unnecessary arguments. I needed to expose her once and for all in front of everyone. The perfect opportunity came sooner than I expected. A few days later, I received the invitation to my mother's birthday party. The whole family would be there, and of course, so would Emily. It was the perfect opportunity to drop the bomb. I decided that simply telling the truth wasn't enough. I had to show proof. I gathered all the messages and screenshots I had been sent, the lies Emily had told, the money she had asked different relatives for, the records of the transfers she had received from her in-laws while crying about not having enough to feed her kids. I had everything. On the day of the event, I arrived early and waited for the right moment. Emily, as always, walked in with her fake smile, greeting everyone with hugs and kisses, playing the perfect victim. I watched her approach my mother and drop one of her well-calculated lines. Things have been tough for me lately, but what really matters is that family always stays together. Couldn't help but chuckle softly. She had no idea what was coming. I waited until everyone was gathered at the table, raising their glasses in a toast to my mother's health. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up, holding my glass, smiling. Before we continue celebrating, I want to say something important. The murmurs stopped. Everyone looked at me. Emily did too, her expression suddenly alert, like an animal sensing danger. These past few days have been difficult because it seems there are a lot of hidden truths in this family. I didn't want things to come to this, but I won't allow people to keep being manipulated with lies. The air grew tense. Emily frowned. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and opened the folder with the evidence. I'm talking about you, Emily. About how you've managed to make me look like the villain while secretly asking different family members for money, each time with a different excuse. A wave of murmurs swept across the table. Emily froze. That's not true. Yes, it is. And I can prove it. I started reading out loud. Here's the message where you told Aunt Elena that you were bankrupt and that your husband was out of work. Emily went pale. And here's the message where you told Aunt Sophia that you didn't have money for diapers and that no one was helping you. Some family members exchanged glances, clearly confused. And here's the receipt for the transfer from your mother-in-law, the one you told that you had never received any support from your family. My mother's eyes widened. What? Silence fell over the room. And here's the proof that you didn't use that money for diapers or household expenses. You spent it on designer clothes. Someone dropped a fork. That's a lie, Emily shouted, losing control. You're twisting everything. But I had been expecting that reaction. If it's a lie, then why are there 3 aunts here who gave you money, thinking they were the only ones you had asked for help? 3 women at the table lowered their gaze. They could no longer deny what was happening. Emily stood up, shaking. I won't let you humiliate me like this. My brother, her father, stepped in. Sweetheart, tell me this isn't true. Emily opened her mouth but said nothing. For the first time, she didn't have a lie ready. The weight of the truth crashed down on her like an avalanche. I can't believe it, my mother whispered. One of my cousins murmured. And to think we all turned against her. Emily's face shifted from fury to fear. She was no longer in control. Her allies were beginning to doubt her. My work was done. Without saying another word, I placed my glass on the table and walked out of the party. Behind me, I left absolute chaos. My work was done. I left that family gathering without looking back. Behind me were the murmurs, the clatter of silverware against plates, and the weight of a truth no one could ignore anymore. I walked to my car with my head held high, but inside I felt a mix of emotions I couldn't quite decipher. When I got home, I collapsed onto the couch, my mind replaying every word, every look of disbelief, every desperate attempt Emily made to defend herself when there were no more lies left to tell. But what disturbed me most wasn't her reaction or even my family's. It was something else. I grabbed a pen and paper, opened the calculator on my phone, and, without overthinking it, started adding things up. The floral arrangements for her wedding, the catering for her first baby shower, the decorations I had paid for out of my own pocket, the extra furniture to accommodate the whole family, the custom desserts, the small expenses that seemed insignificant at the time, but added up to ridiculous amounts. Every number I added was another blow to my pride. I had never seen it this way before. Never wanted to see it this way. But there it was, clear as day. When I finished, the total left me breathless. I repeated it in my head as if, maybe, if I said it enough times, it would stop being real. But it was. $18,000 spent on someone who never appreciated it, on someone who, even after everything I had done, still had the audacity to paint me as the selfish one. I stared at that absurd number, my breathing heavy, my mind trapped in a dilemma with no easy answer. Should I call my brother and demand that he at least pay me back part of it? He had no hesitation in defending her, in calling me stingy, in questioning my generosity. But would he still feel the same way if he knew how much it had really cost me? Or maybe should I just let it go? Accept that the money is gone, that it will never come back, that trying to recover it will only drag me deeper into a family conflict that probably isn't worth it. I don't know. I can't help but wonder if letting it go will make me stronger, or just another fool. What would you do?